Hello, how are you today? My name is Jonathan Pogash, the Cocktail Guru. This is my daily YouTube live and Facebook live show called Some Good Booze. So welcome. Thank you to all of those who are viewing. Hi, everyone on Facebook. Hi, everyone on YouTube. Definitely throw me a comment. Tell me that you're watching. Let me know what you're drinking today. I'd love to know what you're drinking or what you will be drinking. What we do during the show, we try to do this show every day. We started doing this show every day, and now we're at Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, usually at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But today we are on at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, obviously. And thank you very much for being flexible and for continuing to watch. So what we do is we make a cocktail, usually a historic cocktail, and then also we talk about some positive, inspiring news, which we could definitely all use during these times. It has been quite a week, and I hope everyone is well and safe out there, and hopefully you all are donating to various institutions to help the cause happening this week. Okay, so this week we're actually dedicating our cocktails to some famous African-American mixologists who have oftentimes been lost in history, and we are resurrecting them and honoring them. So thank you to those wonderful mixologists. One of those happens to be Tom Bullock, and we'll talk about him in just a second. But let's go ahead and talk about some inspiring news. I always love to talk about what happened this day in history, folks. So on this day in history, in the year 1919, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was passed by Congress. And what did this do? Well, this amendment, the 19th Amendment, prohibited any local or federal government from denying women the right to vote. So obviously, amazingly important, the 19th Amendment. And several attempts were made to pass this amendment, and it failed all the way up until 1919. And it was the suffrage activists, including Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. And folks, the 18th Amendment, for those in the industry, you know what the 18th Amendment was? Prohibition was the 18th Amendment, and the 21st Amendment, of course, was the repeal of prohibition. Okay, so let's get into the cocktail. This cocktail is called the Gillette Cocktail. No relation to the company, Gillette. This is not a paid segment for them, but this cocktail happens to be called the Gillette Cocktail, and it was created by a gentleman named Tom Bullock, who is very well known within certain confines of the industry, but definitely should be more well known than he actually is. Mr. Tom Bullock was born in 1870 to an ex-Union soldier. His father was an ex-Union soldier, and he was born in St. Louis. He was a bar owner, bartender, and folks, in 1917, he became the first African-American to write a cocktail book, and that book was called The Ideal Bartender. And that is actually a rare book. Not many people own original copies of The Ideal Bartender, and it really is an amazing classic cocktail book with amazing recipes, including the Gillette Cocktail. Tom Bullock was also known for his mint juleps. So he wrote this book in 1917, and the Gillette Cocktail was in that book. Yes, there you go, Fred. It's true. The Ideal Bartender was the last cocktail book written before Prohibition, right? 1919, and then Prohibition, 1920. So obviously an amazing cocktail book. So this cocktail, the Gillette Cocktail, is a variation on a gimlet because it has gin, but Old Tom gin, lime juice, and sugar. Why is it called the Gillette Cocktail? Well, I don't think anyone knows. I tried to do a little bit of research, and the only thing I can find is that in 1901, King Camp Gillette was the inventor of the safety razor for shaving. That was in 1901, and he was born in Chicago. So he would have been a contemporary of Tom Bullock. So possibly it was created in honor of him, or maybe for an event. Maybe it was an event cocktail, and Gillette was doing something at one of Tom Bullock's bars. But let's go ahead and make this cocktail right over here. Let's have the Gillette cocktail camera over here. Do a close-up shot. Oh, and there's an echo there. So we're gonna remove that. And I'm just gonna show you the cocktail right over here. I'm not sure why that was happening. In any case, hey, it's live TV, folks, right? So first of all, we have some Old Tom gin, and this is a little different than your standard London dry gin. It can be a touch on the sweet side, and it could also contain malted grains, and it has this sort of full body flavor. So Tom Bullock's recipe called for 2 1/4 ounce. I'm just gonna go ahead and round that up to 2.5 ounces. How does that sound, folks? I think that sounds good. And fresh lime juice. Tom Bullock's recipe called for 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. I'm going to add a little bit more lime juice to this. I'll throw in 3/4 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice right into the glass there. As you can see, it's kind of starting to get built over there. Okay, great. And so the recipe calls for just sugar, not simple syrup. And a lot of classic recipes, pre-prohibition recipes, just call for sugar and not simple syrup. And the recipe is half teaspoon sugar. Actually, these European bar spoons are half a teaspoon. But I'm going to double it up and do 1 teaspoon, an American teaspoon, which is 2 of the European teaspoons. Did you all get that? So what I'm using is actually super fine sugar, if it'll come out. Doesn't seem to want to come out of here. So what I'm going to do is open the top and just scoop it out. How does that sound? So 2 of these is the equivalent of 1 US teaspoon. There we go. And super fine sugar was probably what they used at that time. Sometimes the recipes call for powdered sugar, very similar to super fine sugar. When you shake it with any liquid, it will dissolve right away. Let's add ice to this. There we go. Okay. Tell me what you all are drinking. Fred, what are you drinking right now? Or what will you be drinking? Will you be drinking anything? Anyone else watching? Please share away. Share away. Let's give this a shake, right? 8 Mississippi shake. Let's go. All right. That's 4 Mississippis. And that's 8 Mississippis, my friends. That's the amount of time to shake for. I'll raise this cocktail coupe glass up here so you all can see. And there you go. Oh. And as a little garnish, I have a lime wheel. I'm just going to place it on the rim of the glass, just like that. Brian is drinking a Tanqueray 10 with soda, mint, and lemon. Fred's drinking coffee right now, and he had a cobbler last night. Was it a sherry cobbler, my friend? It possibly was. I'm going to taste this and let you know how it is, okay? Fresh lime. I definitely smell the Old Tom. It highlights the citrus and the spirit. The sugar is just kind of on the back end. Very different from a gimlet, actually. So this is a variation on a gimlet. Usually, the old way of making a gimlet is Rose's lime juice as the lime and sweetener. Not really any lime in Rose's lime juice. But if you make a fresh gimlet with fresh lime juice and simple syrup, it's a touch sweeter than something like this. And also that Old Tom gin is pretty high proof. This one is 47% alcohol, which is 94 proof. So it's definitely spirit forward and citrusy, and it's really nice. It's very refreshing. I'm going to take another little sip. Thank you, Tom Bullock, for creating this lovely Gillette cocktail. And thank you all for joining me. You can join me tomorrow. The time for tomorrow, no, I'm not on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. I take the Friday and weekends off, and Monday. So Tuesday, you can join me. And it won't be at 5 p.m. It will be back at this time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fred, your cobbler sounds delicious. Fino cherry, watermelon, plus other stuff. Who knows what other stuff is in there? Doesn't really matter. Cobblers are delicious. Cocktails are delicious. Cheers, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful weekend. Thank you.